we don't work for everybody. We're not for everybody. That's what we tell people when we talk to them. JDT has a certain way of doing things, so it doesn't always work for every company out there. But the ones that it does work for, it's a great partnership. Some of my clients have been with me for 10 years, and they refuse to hire because they're like, this works for us.
Today's guest is somebody I had the pleasure of knowing since 2018. She is truly a powerhouse. Not only is she a mother, a wife, a business owner, she is truly somebody inspiring. What her and her husband Chuck have started at JDT Servicing is amazing. So as we talk today, you're going to be inspired just like I am. With all that being said, we have Ashley Wilhelm with JDT Servicing. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm nervous and excited, all wrapped in one.
We all are. So I'm happy that you're here today. Today the first question we always ask our guests that come on is, who are you?
Yes. Oh gosh, who am I? That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out. So my name is Ashley Wilhelm. I am a mother of 3. I have 2 boys in college, and my daughter's about to be a senior. I am a wife of 23 years, I think. Sometimes I lose count.
Yeah.
And a business owner. And I am, as to who I am, I'm still figuring that out. I think in my 40s, this is the time to kind of figure that out.
Yeah, it's a hard question.
Yeah, that is a very hard question. It's something so simple yet kind of hard to answer when you're like, who am I? Well, I could tell you all the things I like and maybe things I don't like, but I'm still learning, and that list is growing.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. For sure. But I love what you and Chuck have started at JDT Servicing. My first question would be, what did you and Chuck do before starting JDT?
Okay, so I got into the title business right out of high school in 2002. I started answering phones and for a friend who owned a title company. And I think that's how like most of us get our start. Like we just kind of start off answering phones or coming in to temp, and then we blink and 30 years of our life is gone. So as most people are like, I didn't grow up thinking I was going to be in title insurance. So that's kind of how I got my start in the business. My husband, Chuck, he actually had 20 years of lending experience and came from the mortgage side of things. And for those of you who are in the industry that know the relationship between like title and lending, I married him before he was a lender. So, I know it's kind of there's a struggle or dynamic between the two. We work hand in hand, but it is definitely, there's this balance that comes in. So he actually got into the lending side, and he came and joined me at JDT Servicing when he was looking for a change back in 2019, I believe.
Okay. So you guys, kind of nice you have your, dipped your toes into that side before you actually went off and started your own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He had, and honestly, it's really kind of cool that he has like the lending experience that he has, because there's an element that he brings to JDT that I don't know. I don't know the lending side. I don't, numbers are not my things. If numbers were colors, okay, I got you. But, as far as what he's able to, the knowledge he has on that side, it's always kind of fun to watch him talk to loan officers and things like that when there's maybe a struggle in the transaction, and he be able to spout out where they're going wrong or what they could do to fix the loan, and they're like,
"Where'd you come from?"
Yeah. Right. How do you know that?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we got our start.
Okay. So what kind of gave you guys the push to let's start our own and launch JDT?
So that was a complete accident. Like, I'm not even going to lie. So in 2015, when I started JDT, I had 3 friends who owned title companies, and I was working for corporate, and both Chuck and I both worked about an hour away from where we lived. Our children were in elementary school, middle school, and we worked kind of far away. And it was kind of one of those things that was like, if something were to happen, we were an hour away from getting to them if need be. So I had just offered to process for my friends who own title companies on a profile basis, and was like, I can process for you. I'll work remote, so I started JDT to do that. Next thing you know, I started getting phone calls, I was updating my friends and stuff. And I have a lot of people in the industry that I've met over time. So I knew some of the underwriters that were out there, like the underwriting reps that were out there marketing to title companies. And I guess title companies would say, oh, I'm looking for a good processor or a good closer. And they would say, well, here's my friend Ashley. She does this on the side. Give her a call. Maybe she can help you. So I started getting calls, and from people I didn't even know. And I'd be like, how did you get my number? And they would be like, oh, so-and-so said that you do this on the side. And I was like, I don't even know if I was running some kind of operation. So I was like, yeah, sure. And I have a really hard time saying no, especially to money. So, yeah. So I think I just wanted to, it was probably about the third client that had called me, that wanted me to come in, an attorney that wanted me to come in and chat with him, that I realized that there was a need, that I was onto something, and that there was a need for experienced processors and closers and escrow agents in the industry who knew what they were doing, who didn't need to be trained. And nobody knows this job exists. Like, I mean, in all honesty, if you really think about it, like, it's not something you hear about in high school. There's no trade school for it. It's not something colleges really talk about unless you want to become like a real estate attorney. So there's this whole world of title that exists that no one really even knows is a job and that people can make a career out of. So, so I think that there was really a shortage of us starting to happen. A lot of the people I went into business with, I think, were starting to retire. And so we needed to fill that need. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just work and hire an assistant and see where it takes me. And I never,
10 years later, look at you. Yeah.
I never imagined I'd be sitting here today, or that it would have grown into what it did.
Yeah, for sure. And even when I got into real estate, for title processing side, I was a receptionist at first, and then they moved me up to processing, and I was like, estoppel, lien search, all these words, addendums. I'm like, what is this? But now I'm like, it taught me so much. And especially like the people in that industry are like, I feel like commercial side, it's like nitty gritty of things, but definitely helped me become a real estate agent. So I can now know that end of things. And for those that don't know what title is, can you kind of explain how JDT Servicing helps a real estate transaction?
Yeah. So basically, when you go to purchase a home, you have a company that facilitates the closing, right? Like, there's Switzerland to the transaction. So they will, their client might be a listing agent or a selling agent, depending on your market. However, what our main goal is to make sure that everybody is abiding by the contract and its terms. And that we kind of look at it from a third party perspective in. We're making sure that the title that is being transferred, when you go to buy a home, you want to make sure that you're buying a home and that your title on the home is free and clear, that there's no liens or mortgages or anything on there, because these are the biggest investments people make in their lifetime. So you want to make sure that there's nothing that could come back in the event that there is something on title or something that gets missed, or, let's just say hypothetically. That's where title insurance kind of, takes care of you and backs you up. If somehow something got missed, a mortgage or whatnot, you have title insurance to protect your investment on the property. And, it's a one-time fee that you pay at closing, or that gets paid at closing. And then that way you're covered for the lifetime of you owning the home. So, I think I said once, it was kind of like, if you thought about it, like if the Indians had title insurance and then people tried to come in and take their land, that would have protected them from that, So that's kind of how I look at it in perspective.
It's definitely important to have, for sure.
Yeah.
But people don't see it until, they go to sell. Like if they just did a quick claim deed and then they go to sell, they didn't see all this stuff that liens and judgments that prior seller had. But now if they had a title policy, you could just go back there. But if not, it's on you now.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, and if you think about it, between, owning a car or a home, like, these are the biggest investments you make in your lifetime. You want to make sure that they're protected. So, our role is to really kind of, make sure that it's clear when it's being transferred, and then facilitate that closing, making sure that all parties are communicating, that they're all being compliant. Nobody's trying to pull one over on your head. We need it, the consumer. I mean, I know the realtors we consider our clients, the title company's clients, and they are, but we also want to make sure that the buyers and sellers are being protected, because they don't know, they don't do this every day.
Right.
So they need their hand held and explain the process. So what JDT does is that we pretty much offer that and do that for the title company when they need staff, when they need people to be able to facilitate and do these closing transactions. Not everybody can just hire. Our industry is so fluctuate. The only thing
Yeah.
consistent is change in our industry. So it goes up and down. And with what JDT offers is it gives these small business owners, and really that's really who our main market is, our small law offices and small business owners and title companies. It gives them the ability to, at a moment's notice, be able to take on more business and be involved in their community, but also be involved with the buyers and sellers and their clients and talk to them, that they know that the closing is being handled. The JDT's got that part. Like our motto is, do what you do best and outsource the rest. So let us handle that part of it. And then you go and do that part. Go out there and market and make sure everybody, is being taken care of. We'll make sure everybody's abiding by the contract.
Right.
And then they don't have to continuously hire and let people go and bring us in, because we're only paid when the file closes.
Let's take a short break from our interview to highlight our sponsor, the Germinal Group, which is a real estate team based out in Florida that specializes in Manatee, Hillsborough, and Sarasota County. Their motto is, where there's a will, there's a way. So if you have the will, they have the way. Be sure to check out their reviews online, and let's get back to our interview. My next question is, how does, with real estate evolving, how does JDT involve? But that kind of answered, you guys can pretty much go wherever, help whoever, refinancing, cash, loan
commercials.
deals.
We work with a little over 100 agents throughout the state of Florida. We have started to branch out into other states. We've done New Jersey and Michigan. We've done some assistance with, and our goal is eventually to be able to comfortably take on another state here and there as we go, learning whatever. Because a lot of times real estate transactions are, a lot of them, the nuts and bolts are the same, right? It's just there's a couple different nuances or things that are different per state. So it's learning those differences, like prorations on taxes and things like that. So yeah, I really want to be able to help small businesses keep their doors open. And that's really what we want to do. I don't know that our goal was ever to grow to be really big. We, we're kind of, we got 3 kids to put through college. So really our goal was to make sure that not only could we do that and be able to be remote, but that we could hire people that also have families. There's so many people in the title business that have small children and have families. And I remember when the kids would get sick, Chuck and I would be like, not it. Like who was going to have to go tell their boss they had to leave?
Right.
And we work 60 to 70 hours a week some days because it's the real estate market doesn't stop on the weekends.
Yeah.
In fact, you guys probably start at nights and weekends because that's when people are
Showings.
available.
Yeah.
Doing showings and all that. So we have to fluctuate. So there was a time where Chuck and I, even when we had JDT in the beginning, when we did have an office, we would literally work till 5, run home. One of us would feed the kids, and then we'd come back to the office, and then we'd work till 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
There was no point in that. Now we could at least do it from home and be able to see our kids after school and ask how their day was and then go back to it because that's what we did.
It's even more like convenient where you can just log off for a little bit, pick them up from school, do the normal routine at nap time or bedtime, and then go back and log in.
Right.
And catch up those last emails before you log in the next morning.
Right, exactly. And I think that's what sets us apart because I think what a lot of people in our industry realize is that title companies are sometimes a dime a dozen. I hate to say it. And you're only as good as your last transaction. So we kind of do go the extra mile to keep our clients happy and to make sure that they know that they can reach us. Sometimes buyers and sellers can't call us until the end of the evening when they're off of work. So we take that into consideration and keep that. And that being said, I don't want it to make it seem like JDT is coming in and trying to dominate the market and going to put people out of jobs. In fact, no. We have a lot of clients that also have a full staff, and we make it very clear we're just here to supplement the overflow, right? The overflow. I don't want to take and put anybody out of work. In fact, I want to just make it so that they can take a vacation and not have to take their laptop, which is what so many of us do. We go on vacation and we take our laptops. So I want it to be able to where they can take a break and to where they can leave at a decent time. And if that means they handle majority of the orders and then we just handle 5 on the back end so that they can do that, that's really what we want to do. Take a vacation, do what they got to do. And if they find themselves at a place to where they're like, okay, well, even that's a little much and they want flexibility and they're good at their job, they want to offer good service and they want to have, kind of create their own hours, And that's when they send their resume to me.
Yeah.
And they can come join us because we're not going anywhere.
Right.
But until people start knowing about this job, we need to kind of all come together. And I'm not looking to put anybody out of business by any
They
means.
really just want to make sure that the customer service is still met as if they still are working in-house, which it is with JDT. So
Yeah. Yes.
that works.
Good.
Working with your spouse is definitely hard. So what surprised you most about building JDT with Chuck, your husband?
Oh, it's been a pure joy. Like it's been so much fun. It's funny because Chuck and I actually met working together. He was my boss at our first when we first started dating. And it wasn't kind of like that. It was kind of more of a low key type of, telemarketing type job. So there wasn't really, any rules per se. But he brings an element to the business that I never could have brought. He is so smart, and I'm good with, we're very opposite. For those who know us, we are total opposites. But with that comes the yin and the yang. So he brings an element to the business that he took it to a whole new level, with the way he was able to kind of, really dig deep into commercial deals and things like that. And how he thinks outside the box. And I do too, but on a different level. So we really complement each other well. Is it always fun and perfect? No, there are times we have to work on opposite ends of the house. Like it's like I'm downstairs, you're upstairs. Yeah. And if you need me, you text me or you send me a message on Teams. Because we are parents, we're a married couple, we have run this business together. So if anything, running the business kind of dominates, especially because our kids are so much older now, dominates our roles, so.
I definitely see that as far as like me and Julian working together and also raising little ones, we kind of put our like marriage sometimes on the back burner when we're trying to, just do business deals and phone calls. And then at the end of the day, the kids go to bed and we're like, oh, I didn't talk to you all day, or like, want to catch up, or I don't, and I want to go to bed, but I need to talk to my spouse and whatnot. But it has its pros and cons for sure, because you know what to expect on their day-to-day schedule or what kind of they went through, but it can kind of put hard things on.
It's tough. And all I could say is like for, people who are married, work with their spouse, and especially who are parents, like it is important to still don't put your marriage on the back burner. But like there were there's still times where we'll say, we'll go to dinner and we'll be like, okay, we're not going to talk work.
Right.
Or we're not going to talk about the kids. And we stare at each other like, what are we just talking about?
Yeah.
But there's so many resources out there, conversation starters, or things like check-in questions you can do with your spouse to kind of really like, engage and remember that you are first and foremost a united, a married couple, that, everything else should kind of come after that. But it's hard when children and jobs are very demanding because they kind of just make themselves known. But it's just important to do that, because I will say majority of our conversations are about work or about the kids.
No, I can relate to that for sure.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time where you questioned, is it all worth it? And if so, what kept you guys keep going?
That is about every day around 5:00 where I question my life choices. I joke, but in all honesty, was there a time I ever questioned? I mean, I sometimes daily, I will say, but I think what makes it worth it is, I try to make sure that I still do actual signings. Like I go and do the signings at the table around month end. To me, it's just regardless of the extra money or income that comes from it, but it's reminding myself why we do what we do. It is so easy to get to group everybody into this stack of files that you have, right? And you forget everyone's process to get there. And I was fortunate enough that I worked for a builder before I came to this company, or started the company. So I can't tell you how many times I've gone in to do a signing, and we're doing the signing, and at the end, they're crying. They're asking me to take a picture of myself handing them the keys. And, the kids are all excited. And I love to, like, when I do those signings, especially first time home buyers, I'm like, okay, so what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do with the living room? What color? Like, I ask the kids, what color you want to paint your room? Like, and to see them light up and to realize, like, we got to be a part of that. Like, these are their homes, or they're going to make endless memories that you can never get back. Time is, a thing that's like stolen from
I
us
know.
constantly. So I have to remind myself of that. Yeah, there are times I question like the sacrifices I make as a business owner, as a person in this industry, the amount of hours we put in. But then that this is just the life I chose. So I try to, hindsight's 2020, and be grateful that I was able to provide for my children and grow something, help small businesses stay alive. But then be a part of that process of handing them the keys and realizing
Yeah.
I did that. I helped with that.
So
you know?
just stepping back and just like realizing
Mm-hmm.
what all you do and just having a face to face with people definitely
Mm-hmm.
helps
Yeah.
for sure. And sometimes, I mean, who knows if that buyer even got asked what they're going to do with the living room. 'Cause they
Yeah.
could have just like, make sure you come to signing, bring your
Here you go,
ID. This is
keys.
what you need to
Yeah.
cash to close.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
important.
Just kind of, I think, remembering that they're people and having that, and like even on the phone. Sometimes I have a therapist. Sometimes I
Yeah.
just sit there and they listen to, maybe a bad divorce or something that they just went through, and now we have to get so and so to sign, and all these things. It's like they just want to be heard, and they want to know that the person on the other end of that transaction is a real person. And I remember when Chuck and I were buying our second home, and the appraisal, I think, came in low. And I remember I was almost in tears, and I was like, I don't care what you do, but make it happen. I need that house. I
Yeah.
need that house. It was in our subdivision we were already in. The school was right there. It was a cul-de-sac with the pool. We had 3 children.
Oh, wow,
I'm
yeah.
like, I needed, and
Perfect lot.
yeah, it was a perfect lot, corner lot, if that, and I was so emotional, like, just like I couldn't see past that. And he made it happen, and we had a great seller who was so sweet and kind, and she's like, "Well, I hope you still buy the house." She wanted to leave it to somebody to build memories. So, um, it's tapping back into that, too, and remembering that that's what these people are going through.
Yeah, just put yourself in their shoes.
Or
And what
selling,
they
and I got
want.
to get
Yeah.
out of here because I got to move on, and yeah, there's
Yeah.
just so many things we don't see that are happening on the back end, that and it is stressful. It's a lot of money, a lot of money.
Especially people kind of selling now that only bought in COVID time. Now
Mm-hmm.
they're selling and they're upside down. It's hard conversation. Sure.
Yeah, for sure, because they thought what would be a good investment, but it's never a bad one. But
Right.
it's just more of those things, just kind of navigating those conversations, letting them know you hear and you care.
Hmm. You could always rent, but if they have to sell,
Hmm.
they need to sell, and that's
Right.
what they have to
Yeah.
do. Um, so your kids, what age were your kids when you guys started
Oh
JDT?
gosh, you're gonna give me a math problem here. Okay.
Should I ask Chuck?
Yeah, you should ask Chuck.
Okay.
So I would say 2015 we started. So the oldest is now 21. I think he'll be 22 in August. And then our middle one is about to be 20. And then our youngest just turned 17. So in 20, so to come back, I would have to say, gosh. Okay, I can't do that math in
Like
my
10,
head.
around
Yeah,
10?
yeah, around there.
Okay.
Yeah. So 10 years ago, so 12. So I guess okay, let's just do the math. Easy enough. 10. Okay, so he's 20. He's 21 now. So he was 11. The oldest was, and then it went down from there. 3 years. They're all 3 years apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want your kids to remember about watching their parents build JDT Servicing together?
Oh gosh, it's funny because we built it so that they would have we could like leave it to one of them, and neither of them wanted to. I think because they see how, I think the lesson is anything worth having is going to take hard work. Anything worth having is going to take sacrifice. It is hard work. One thing I think even on the way here, I was like stressing out, and I'm like, because I feel like when I'm succeeding in one area of my life, I'm failing in another, and I've had to. I struggle with that, and balance to me is the B word, and it doesn't exist. Like I don't know how to find it. So I hope that they learn that it does take a lot of work, and it's sacrifice, and it's worth having. And there's a quote that's like, I didn't say it was going to be like easy or something, but it's worth it or something along the lines of that. That's true. And so I tell them, really think about what you want to do for a living, because it doesn't mean you have to own a business. Owning a business is a whole other beast than working for someone else. It has its pros and its cons for sure. It's not a walk in the park. owning. So it's really kind of thinking about that and realizing the work that you put into it. Oh, and your brand. Like, I don't care who you work for. Your name is your brand.
Right.
That is your signature. I love that one quote that's like, if you don't know me for my work ethic, then you don't really know me. I one thing I will say, my children are all very hard workers. And I think they got that from,
Yeah.
their father and myself, where we didn't, to us, it's like we could be watching Netflix or making money,
Yeah.
which, so we went with the other option. So I think they've learned that. And I do think family time and all that stuff is important as well. But I'm hoping that they kind of learned from us in some days what not to do,
Yeah.
but in some days what to do, and realizing that it is hard work.
Yeah. So going back to how you first started JDT Servicing, which is kind of like when people just kind of started sending you business, that just shows right there kind of like your worth ethic and word of mouth. So people trust you. And
yeah, that's one thing I'm grateful for is we have really done no marketing. I mean, not yet. I now that we're hitting our 10 years, like I'm ready to dip into the marketing, but it gave us the ability we don't work for everybody. We're not for everybody. That's what we tell people when we talk to them. JDT has a certain way of doing things. So it doesn't always work for every company out there, but the ones that it does work for, it's a great partnership. Some of my clients have been with me for 10 years and they refuse to hire because they're like, this works for us.
Right.
We like it. We know how you guys work. We have a great reputation. People are now starting to pick up on our names because they're like, wait a minute, I just worked with you over here on this transaction. But by then they've already had a good experience, so they're fine with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of an but and that worked out and to our benefit.
That's a good story right there.
Yeah.
So, if there's a husband and wife out there right now kind of watching our conversation, what kind of advice would you give to them to, move forward or something with what they have in mind on as far as starting a business?
Yeah, I always say, find a need. If there's a need out there that needs to be fulfilled, and you go into business with the idea of helping people versus making money, the rest will kind of fall into place. I really wanted to help people. I wanted to fulfill a need. I think that, and I knew it was needed. I would say nothing changes if nothing changes. If you see, you have to really, if you want to change in your life when it comes to financially or just in your professional world, it's going to take a bunch of small little changes for that to come to play. That being said, I'm a podcast junkie. So I listen to the School of Greatness. I listen, it's all what I'm feeding my brain, right? Like I'm very impressionable. So whether I'm reading, what I'm watching, what I'm listening to, I try and take it in and learn from those who are successful. And one thing I will say that I've heard recently that I really have to remember, because I have all these ideas of things I want to do, how I want to grow JDT, but other services I want to offer because I see a need for that and things like that, is 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day, which if you looked at your phone and looked at the hours you probably spent, on Amazon or whatever else, 1 hour a day is nothing. And if you do 1 hour a day working towards that goal or that business or whatever it is you have in mind, that's 7 hours a week, and multiply that over 52 weeks. Like it can be done. People do it. It's just what you're willing to sacrifice to do it. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah. Eventually you'll turn around and see how far have you become, because time goes by no matter what. So you might as well just start, connect with people, and eventually it will take off.
Yeah.
Just won't happen overnight.
No, it won't. And there's going to be days you're going to question your life choices, but you blink and it's like 10 years. And I'm like, I can't believe it's been 10 years. I really didn't think, I don't know what I thought. I don't know. I definitely didn't think it was going to last this long, but I was happy to have it work in the interim. And I'm just so grateful. I try to find the joy in it. I do try to make time for other things that I enjoy doing creativity wise, because I'm not so much, I love creative stuff, but the people that I've met, the clients that we have, and they are like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, if you can never shut your doors, because if you shut your doors, we shut our doors. And I'm like, oh, no pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure. But it's great that we've been able to be a part of their journey and build something like that.
And that just shows your guys' value, because real estate is constantly changing up or down. But even if title companies are busy, and they still send you guys service, even if they're not as busy as they'd like to be, but they're still sending,
Yeah.
files to process and close.
Yeah, exactly.
that
They
says a
still
lot.
are. And I want to help everybody. And to those who we haven't taken on as clients, and we have like a wait list right now, I want to help everybody. I'm very picky about who we bring on board. My staff is amazing. We're constantly looking for new talent and for people who, have experience. I want to help everybody. And if there's competitors or people out there that are trying to build something similar to JDT, there is plenty of business to go around. Like I'd love to offer those people who we can't help, there's plenty. The world, we're all here to help each other. That's really what we should be. And we should be kind of a united front. Like, I'm on a couple pages with title agents, like, Title Talk and things like that. And, is telling people like, don't like, our worth, the hours we put in.
Right.
So like, we all should have each other's back, and we're not competitors in my mind. I
Right.
want to see you succeed, because if you succeed, then I succeed.
You succeed, yep.
Yeah.
And if you can't help that client, I'm sure you have somebody else, even though I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to
companies
find, is like other companies
JDT.
that do
Yeah,
what
I don't
JDT
think I
does,
know anybody.
that we can kind of be like, here, this, I'm at capacity, or
Right.
I can't help, because I hate making promises I can't keep. So I tell people, like, once I feel like I'm entering that territory where I'm like, I really, really, really want to help you, but I would hate to say I can take on your 20 files a month, when right now, we're kind of at capacity. And it's not even so much at capacity, but even when we take on a new client, I like to take a couple of months to learn how that client likes to get things done. So, we may not always do it their way entirely, but it's a collaboration. It's a relationship to find the perfect workflow to work for their clients and for us and for them. And so it's not something that's like, oh, I can onboard 10 new people every day. Like, no, because then they're not going to get the time and attention that they need.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say you didn't find the need found you.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. Yes. The need did find me.
Yeah. But that kind of wraps up our podcast for today. So I greatly appreciate you coming out and having this conversation with me, guys.
I'm so grateful.
Thank you guys for tuning in on a Mixed Realities podcast.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. This has been so much fun and a true pleasure, and I'm honored. So thank you.